Okay, I think I'm live now. Oh, Lane, throwing a lot of shade. Just because we don't have any ideas to come up with a new name. That's pretty low. All right, well, waiting for some people to show up. I think I will just play a bit of the game. Looks like it might be down at the moment. The stream stream preview is broken. Alright, well, I'll poke it that quick and then call it good. Alright, let's see what happens if I pull it up in the account. Content live right now. Go to. Okay, well, it seems to be working, just the preview's broken. Whatever. I can work without that, I got the one in the OBS. Okay. So, the thing that's going to work on today is when you use the laser drill. So let's back out of this. I'll load up a save. Okay. So here I have the laser drill, kind of this laser plasma saw thing. And what happens when you dig into the terrain, you can kind of watch the decals just sort of move right along with the terrain as it goes. And the reason is they don't actually store the decals anywhere. They're sort of just drawn on the fly. On the fly. And you also see that if I dig out enough, yep, okay, you see there's this rock that just appeared right there. If I dig around a bit more, oh, see another one appeared. So again, it's because I'm not really storing them. I just sort of check the places on screen where decals should be, and I spawn them if the terrain conditions are right. So that was kind of a quick and dirty way to get things moving along at first, but now I kind of need to do something better. For instance, when I'm digging, it should be destroying these plants, and they shouldn't come back until, you know, I move a significant distance away and then come back. So let's pop over to the code for a second. Systems, I think. Decals, I called it. Okay, so what I do when I draw the decals. Oh, perfect. I left a debug log in here. Let's comment that back in. Oh, it's old. So, I've got this grid of all these points. And they're actually in cells that are screen aligned, but then they all have a little bit of an offset to them. So how it works is I just iterate over all these points that are visible on screen, and I decide if there should be like a rock or a plant or something there. Let's draw this a bit differently so you can kind of see a little more easily. Promise transparent circles. There we go. And so you can kind of see if we look around. Okay, so like for instance right here, there's this rock. It's a bigger rock and it's got a bigger circle around it versus like some of these smaller things, like these smaller tufts of grass have little dots around them. And then, you know, a little bit bigger tuft, a little bit bigger. So that's generally how it works, is that all these different sizes of points have a blue noise distribution. And this is just looked up in a texture that I got from Sean Barrett, I think it was. Probably had that documented somewhere in the comment here. Anyway, doesn't really matter. So it's this handy dandy lookup texture that just gives you this regular grid that you can then go and like offset everything to give these blue noise point distribution, which works super good. So I think what I want to do is take so when I'm digging, you can kind of see what happens is, yeah, again, like the plants kind of move along with the terrain, which, you know, isn't great. So what I want to do is mark these cell indexes that correspond to each one of these points in like a hash table or something like that, so that I can, when I go to visit them to draw them, I can just skip them. And then once they get significantly off the screen, I just clean them up out of that hash table. So let's try that. We're going to start with some global variable nonsense, because that works well with hot loading, and I can just dive right into it. So we're going to make... Let's just, yeah. Static, make a map, which is a hash table. Destroyed map. Temp destroyed map. Make sure I'm marking this variable in a way that I know I want to get rid of it later. We'll just shove this in here to initialize it. Okay, so initializing the map using just plain system memory for it. Give it a debug name for purposes. Never actually use that. I could probably just remove that, and we'll just give it a small but reasonable size. Okay, so 1,000 elements. And then what I think we're gonna do, let's put a new terminal. Right, let's do some math. Okay, so the size of my grid that I have is so it's 256 tiles wide. And a tile on screen is, oh, I don't know if I can show this easily. If I move to SDF maybe? Okay, yeah, so the SDF here, you can kind of see, let's make that bigger so make sure it shows up. You can kind of see I've got these big squares, and so those are the tiles of the terrain, and they're 32 pixels by 32 pixels in the distance field. So you can kind of see the low resolution nature of it. It's 32 pixels of those each. And then this blue noise grid is mapped on top of that. So, okay. Q is 16, so... Okay, yeah, so we have 256 by... and then each of those tiles on screen is 256 wide, so, okay, so it's going to be 65, 536. If we divide that by 16, so we got 4,096. Well, either way, this is enough that we can just use like 32-bit integers, calculated as an index off of the thing. That's super easy because we just already have the x and the y of them. So yeah, I think what we're gonna do. Let's say let's call it the cell index. So it's going to be x plus y times, just shift it by 16 bits. That'll be good enough. Only like that. Okay, so now we have the cell index, and let's also say compared to the mouse position. So let's do some quick debugging with that. So if vector 2 near input mouse position world, we'll compare that to the position of the thing, and we'll say if it's within 256. Then we'll draw the points. So now, okay, so as you can see as I move the mouse around, items within a radius of 256 get drawn and other ones don't. So now, let's take and put the things near the mouse. Well, let's make that radius a bit smaller for now. Like, I don't know, 16 is probably good enough. A little bit bigger. Okay, that's better. That'll work. Okay, so let's take. Oh, I don't want to put that in there. Let's do this instead. So let's insert into the map. Destroyed map. Key is the cell index. They're all unique, and value will just be true. I guess I don't really care. And then we can say if it's not the map find destroyed map cell index. So if the value is not in there, then we'll debug draw circles. Sometimes move the mouse around, it should delete them. Yeah, okay. So this is kind of what we want. As we dig with the drill, we want it to be removing these points from this map. That seems to work just fine. As we move around, yeah, so we can move around, clear some of these, move around some more. And since it's the hash map, we're not storing a giant grid that we don't need, and as we come back, they're still missing. So then we're gonna have to do a pass at some point to remove them. So that's just copying. Okay, so let's just do it at the end of this. Remove cells from a destroyed map that are far from the player. Okay, so... And actually, let's take terrain sample find and distance listen that continue. Let's just copy this as well. This will also be continue. Oop. Continue. This should also remove the decal. Oh, no, I got that backwards. It is in the map. Continue. Okay, so this is removing the decals, roughly like what we want when we're drilling. So as drilling along, we'd be, you know, effectively like removing areas around the player. And it would look very stark and sterile compared to what it does when there's plants and stuff all around. And then once we go far away and come back, the plants will have regrown or whatever. So yeah, I think that kind of works. Let's just put debug drawing of the circle down further. Okay. For debugging's sake, let's only not draw the ones that have been removed, but we still draw the ones that are in the terrain so we can see that those are being removed correctly. Okay. Actually, ideally, I think instead of putting true in here, I should be putting in like the tick count or something like that. This is not an update function. Oh, draw. That's not entirely ideal, but oh, I guess this code will move somewhere else later. So that's kind of fine. Same effect. We can just still use it. Whether or not it exists in the map to check it. Okay, so let's try something interesting then. Oh, I can never remember how to iterate over hash maps. D map for each. Oh, made an iterator. Perfect. Gives me the indexes I need to check. Okay. Temp destroyed map. Index. Okay, so okay, so the keys are the cells. So U32 cell index equals that. And then from the cell index we can get the position back. So if you take the lower 2 bytes, that's the X value. Cell index shifted down by 16 bits. And in with F, that's going to be the top, the Y coordinate. What's wrong with this? Oh, oops. Need to make that a pointer. Okay. So now we're iterating over those, and we have the position, the integer coordinates, but we need to multiply them by Q. Q is the quantization factor for the grid, so let's just pull that out as a value. What should we call this? Cell quantization. Dang it. Whatever, cell quant. There we go. Pull this out. We'll stick this up here. So now down in this function. Just split this on this multiple lines. Make it easier to read. There, something like that. Yeah, that's goofy. Don't do that. Okay, so now we have the position, and we can compare it to the player. Do we have the player's position? No. Let's grab that into variable. Player info is the function I'm looking for. Path it to state, and we only care about the position that it returns. Type name is not allowed. Get info. That's why I was confused. There we go. Okay, so we have the position of the cell, roughly. We could make it the center of the cell or something, but that's fine. And if it's near cell pos. Oh, just pos. Let's change that. Okay, so cell position is near player position. And we'll just make this a bigger number, say 128. It's good enough so we can see it on screen, see what's happening. So we remove it from the map. asteroid map. And cell index is our key. Oh, actually this is backwards. If it's not close to the player, then we want to remove them. So now I can take the mouse and I can draw. Nope, this is wrong. What did I do? Just always putting them back, regardless of the distance of the player. Okay, so it is calling the map remove, obviously. The cell position must be wrong. Let's try drawing them. Okay, debug circle. That'll pass. We'll just give it a radius of something small and color it green. Yep, our positions are wrong. Crap. Okay, so up here, this is how we get the position. Okay, so we got to multiply and add where it takes this value, which we just did down below. And then the placement texture applies the offset from the placement texture, so that should be working. Cell index is x plus y shifted up by 16. Okay, so if we get the x and the y back, cell index shifted down by 16. Should be the xy position. Oh, hey Charles. Trying to do math. Apparently poorly. So catching Charles up, maybe. What I want to do is, I'm working on, I'll talk through the problem I'm having. So what I want is, when I'm digging in the terrain, you can kind of see how like I'll switch to the full screen view. You can kind of see that as I dig into the terrain, the plants that are there sort of just move along with the terrain. It's because I don't actually store any of the data for the terrain objects. So I'm just visiting all of these red circles that are on screen is just sort of like a noise placement texture. And so what I want to do is, at the moment I have it so I can remove them with the mouse, because I'm adding the indexes of them to a hash table. So yeah, as you dig out, it should give you this like barren look like this to the terrain. But I also want to make it so when the player moves far away from where they've been digging and comes back later, so if I said I got like 10 screens away, these points should be added back, removed from the hash, so that they should be visible on the screen again as like the plants and stuff, to make it seem like they've regrown. So adding them to the hash table of deleted entities works, but removing them when I iterate over the hash table, I'm getting the positions back wrong, apparently. Okay, so up here I have the x and y value of the cell that for the grid that's on screen, and I'm just multiplying that by a factor so that to set the size of the grid. That's what cell quant is. So effectively I should just need to do this, and then when I encode the key for the hash table, I just take the lower 16 bits of the x coordinate is the lower 16 bits and the y coordinate is the upper 16 bits, which should work. but it appears to not work. Because when I get the lower 16 bits and upper 16 bits and multiply them by cell quant, and then debug draw those circles, they don't appear anywhere. There should be little green dots at the center of each of these red circles that are here. And explaining that out loud again didn't seem to help. I still don't know what the problem is. Alright, well, let's just break in here and look. So, throw a breakpoint in there. Okay, so the cell index is... Oh, that's a surprising number of bits sets. Let's pull the debug window. I don't know how to make the VS Code debugger show me hex stuff. Dash X, dash exec. There we go. Drive by thoughts and Charles around. If you'd agree with this overall comment. Dun dun dun. Wait for it. Okay, so cell p/x cell index. Okay, so that looks roughly correct. We've got a lot of x bits and only a few y bits. So then we can decode the position. So the player position should be, that's pretty close. Oh no, they're negative. That's a problem. Consistently find that I have trouble spotting important elements in the game, and I'm wondering if the floor or general background is too high contrast. Let me jump out of the game for the debugger here for a second. Comment on these bug things. Okay, so yeah, to Lane's comment, yeah, there's kind of a switch the game view. So there's kind of a lot going on in the game. So if you're looking for, like the bug that's sitting ahead of me there, that one right there. I mean, obviously that moves, so it's a bit better. But if I go somewhere else where there's going to be a bunch of resources, like over here maybe. So, save file, I like mined everything out. Yeah, okay. So like the ore here are elements you can pick up. Part of the thing that I've tried to do to help differentiate the foreground elements from the background elements is there is a little bit of parallax that you can kind of see. And also when you pull out the right tools, if I pick up the grabber tool, it highlights all the stuff that you can grab. If I shoot this guy, he'll drop something, which is a little hard to see. But again, if I pull out the right tool, it kind of highlights it. I don't know, does that help, or is that too content sensitive? Because I've kind of struggled with putting enough detail in the game to make different locations look interesting and unique, while also, which is sort of a problem so far, because right now, like, the settings for which decals are picked are the same everywhere, so that's sort of not true yet. But I also want to make it so, yeah, that you can see what's going on. So that's what kind of made it context sensitive. I don't know. Do you consider that to be better or worse? Deleting decals with the mouse. All right. So getting back to what I was working on. Okay, so I got my grid. Deleting some points. All right, so if we break in here, we got negative values. I did not consider that. Shoot. The background can possibly make things harder to tell what's going on. Yeah, because unfortunately I feel like there's I'm somewhat limited in like colors I have available and such. Oh, Just jump back to the code screen anyway. If you have any like concrete thoughts about what to do about it, I'm all ears, I guess. Okay, so back to this problem though. My problem is that I need to decode these integers as signed. So maybe I just need to do this. Stuck on breakpoint. Go. Hey, there we go. Okay, so as I'm removing these things, you can see the grid cells for them. The green dots don't have the offsets applied, so they're rigidly stuck on a grid. You can kind of see what's happening, and there's a bit of an offset too that I could bother to fix, but probably not worth it because the radius for adding these back in is going to be huge. Okay, so now if I add back the ones that are near the player, or that are far from the player, I can paint some of these in, and as I move away, they disappear. That kind of works. Okay, this is close to what I wanted. Let's make this value, oh, I don't know, like the same as the spawn radius for stuff, probably. Spawn radius. There we go. Okay, so if I paint out a bunch of these elements, oh, there's too many circles. It's confusing. Let's remove all the debug drawing. Okay, so let's paint out a bunch of these elements around me. Go to the map. Let's go over here. They should still be there if I go back. All right, not sure if this is there. Personally, don't find it a problem too often, only on the small bits. The other thing that, like, so in some of Will's artwork for a lot of the ores and stuff, so if I turn off my light, it's a little more visible, but you can kind of see that let's get in the dark. The ores flash a little bit, so like that's supposed to help draw your eye, but since everything is lit in the game, the like self-illuminated part of the lighting of them is, when you're shining the light on them, is barely perceptible. Versus, you know, if I turn the light away, you can see it. And it's because it's like a self-illumination, like glow map that's applied to them. So I haven't really figured out what to do with that. That doesn't make it very distracting all the time. So now let's go further away. Let's go up here. Leaving a line of deleted decals as we go. All right, and then go back down to here. Let's move the mouse off to the corner so we're not deleting the important ones. So as it moves back down here, was that far enough away? Yes, now we have the decals back. So that's kind of what I had in mind. As you dig, it'll paint out the details, and then once you move far enough away, they can reappear again. So that is good. We just need to move the part where it is deleting the cells based on the proximity to the player. Let's pull some of this onto a function. Again. Okay, so whatever this cell quantization nonsense is, let's move this into a function so we can use it again. Right, I need to name it something different. Get cell pass. Something like that. Turn vector 2. Turn that. X and Y. Oh, we need to pass the placement texture with it too. That's So I'm going to pull this, the loading of this out, which this is all temporary code anyway, so that's kind of fine. Let's do some renaming. I declared the struct locally too. Like that. Release temp placement. I missed that variable. It's here. Okay, so this variable used here. Should really be loading. Well, whatever. Temporary weird globals. That's fine. Okay, so now we're getting the cell position that way. And also down here, we could do the same thing. Instead of this, to cell pass equals cancel pass. Our x and y are these values. Back in so we can see what's going on. Oh, this got renamed. Okay, so now those are not lined up. That's interesting. They're offset now. Oh, I actually take it back. They do sometimes line up. That's more confusing, perhaps. Okay, well, something's not quite working right here, but some notifications. Okay, nothing important. Alright, so why would these... Like, over here they're fine. And at some point as I move over here, they get incorrect. I bet we... Alright, let's check. Yep. I'm trying to reuse too much. Or save storing data. Causing problems. Let's just move somewhere else so we can get this working with without having to deal with number signs. Okay, so those are drawing correctly. That's all good. So then, get cell position. Let's make a function for removing them. Okay, so we'll remove things near a certain position with a certain radius. That's this. like most of this for loop. Do something like that. Gotta recalculate the bounds for it. And then let's remove this new cell nonsense that we just added. Okay. Oh. Just the part where we added to the map. Okay, there we go. Cell index. Still need cell index. Indexing position. Okay, so just that part. There we go. Select bounding box 2, bounds equals don't care. Just make it compile for the moment. V scale, what was that? Oh, that's for drawing. Yeah, we don't need that part. We just need the for loops. And we'll need to pass the tick value since that's what we're saving. Don't need to do any of this drawing. Okay, so it's just the loop and inserting things into the map. Stays. Okay, that should still work. Yep. Loaded, everything works fine. Let's go next to where we're cleaning stuff up. Do that. Here. Destroy decals near the mouse position with a radius of, I don't know, what do we have before? 32, I think. And pass the tick. We can do animations or something. Okay. Near radius. Okay. So now this mostly works. We just need to calculate the bounds to search over, which is going to be which I think I probably have a helper function for this. Or string mod center area contains extends merge overlap test. Dang it, I don't. Whatever. It's easy enough to just write. Okay, so left equals pos minus, or pos.x minus radius divided by cell count. We do that here. The bounds comes from. Oh, I calculated it from the view projection matrix directly. That's not helpful. Alright, well, let's start by, instead of removing them, let's steal this call where we just draw them in. Draw decals here. Okay, here we go. Ignore the part where we add them to the hash table. Okay, so the left is, oh wait, no, I do all that math right here. Okay, yeah, so I don't have to do this at all. I just need to do left, right, top, bottom. Radius. bottom and the top are the position.y. That might actually work. Okay, so yeah, there we go. That works. Everything within a box near the mouse. I don't specifically need these bounds even. I can just inline these into here. Go bottom, left. Okay, left and right. Bottom. That's not necessarily less messy, but it's not more, I guess. Whatever. Okay, so now we just have these for loops. We loop over all the relevant cells. We can draw them, and then we can check the radius and add them to the hash map. So we don't need to debug draw those anymore. If we go and delete these, that works just fine. Perfect. Okay, now this should all probably be stored as part of the terrain object. So I should move this code into there, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. We'll just make this drift terrain destroy decals. Let's find the terrain. Terrain load, terrain. Where is the terrain code? Ah. Okay, so editor stuff, remarching, let's see. Doesn't really matter where I put it. Let's just put it after remarching, sampling biomes. Okay, before the editor stuff. Okay, so terrain destroy decals. Decals near. Work. Build, where is that function I need to rename? Decals near. Okay, so we can do that, and instead of calling it here, we call it from player when we're digging. Update dig? There we go. Update dig. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so let's just do it in these plasma cutter calls. So, okay, so here's where it's digging, and it's actually, everything is happening. So I could just throw it in this function. Yeah, think about that. Drift. Terrain, destroy decals near. No, we probably want this as a separate function at least. So the dig should maybe call it. So we have the position that we're digging at, the dig radius. Let's just like double that maybe, so it catches everything around. And the tick is the update tick. Oops. What? Why does it not like that? It's no field name tick. Current tick? Why? Strange. I could swear I had it in that function. State current tick. Kind of just a helper context that I pass along to update functions that has most of the values you need in there, but apparently it didn't include tick. Doesn't matter. Okay, so now when we go back, the mouse no longer deletes stuff. Oh, pull this up full screen. So the mouse no longer is deleting these things, but when I get digging, now they get deleted. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. Okay, so then if I go somewhere far away, such as up here, and then come back, they should be repopulated. While that's happening, let's get rid of these debug circles again. A little distracting at this point. Okay, so the place I was down here where I just dug these 2 new tunnels. Let's see if that's actually far enough. Should respawn them. Hey, look at that. Now we've got plants growing on them again. So that's pretty close to what I want. Maybe I just need to do some code cleanup now. So let's stage some of this. I want to stage that. Systems, stage that. Some terrain. Yeah, I probably want to stage that too. Move stuff around. Okay. Destroy decals near. So a lot of this decal code should honestly just be moved into terrain. Kind of locked myself into needing access to these values, so. Yep, we're just gonna copy paste the whole lot. Update systems. Let's grab from here all the way down to this. Draw decals ends here. Okay. Let's take all of that and move it into terrain. Oh, forgot to switch scenes. I was back working in the code. Okay. Where to put it? Let's just put it at the end right before the terrain editing stuff, since that's debug mode code. Alright. This will not compile. Although it's not far. Okay. Draw systems. Let's just make a new module for this. So since I don't really use like object-oriented-y stuff, I tend to just make these little things. I just call them modules for lack of a better word. This is sort of like a wrapper for a bunch of standard functionality, like having an update function, a draw function, stuff like that. So things you might have like as a manager in like a Unity project or something like that. Which makes it easy to share them around the code without exposing like a ton of functions that I don't need to be polluting the global namespace with. Decals, we'll call it that. amount. We're going to have a draw function, which is going to be just draw decals. Draw decals. So in systems, we can say mod terrain decals dot draw. Pass it the draw object. Well, if I compiled, it'll probably work. Hey, there we go. So that worked. Game's still working, didn't crash. And it does the terrain modifications like it's supposed to. Perfect. Okay, so I think, yeah, this destroy decals near that I've added from this digging function. Let's from terrain dig. Let's just add that directly there. So the end of this, boy, that's a long one. Or not, maybe, because we have to pass the current tick in. Yeah, let's just leave it where it was. Okay, so that is going okay. Now let's do some cleanups. We're gonna have to quit the game to change the data. Where did they go? This is the wrong file. Terrain, it's in the new code that just got added. Okay, right here. So this map and the placement noise, and also there's a set of static values that I use, uniform static numbers. Ugh, bug buzzing around. Yeah, so this is also needs to be cleaned up. Oh, is it still used? It is still used. Okay, that's for the rotation. Okay, so I think what I want to do, the destroyed map is easy enough to move into the terrain object because that isn't loaded at application start time versus like this placement noise and the random is annoyingly. I guess it doesn't really have to be. That's probably fine. So let's just start with the map of the destroyed entities. And we'll move them into the terrain object. Tile map, etc. Yada yada yada. Let's put it after the tile map. We're naming the process. Okay, so this is going to be decals near. You have to pass the terrain to this. Destroy decals map. add terrain to it. Okay. And then we move the initialization of it somewhere else. Terra init, Terra new, Terra new. There we go. Something about the tile maps. Density base, asset load. Okay, yeah, this is where we can load those other assets in too. Asteroid decals map. This should go into the state memory, I suppose. Oh, that memory. It's not being destroyed right away. Okay, so now is this not draw state? Okay, so try decals map. Let's move that into variable. And like that. Nope, not like that. There we go. Okay, perfect. Then similarly here, need to replace these remaining variables. And, oh, one more. There we go. Let me give that a test to make sure it still runs. Load up our autosave here. Perfect. Exactly like it's supposed to. So let's commit that, or stage it at least. Okay, perfect. Now let's do the same with those other static variables. Move them into their forever home. Okay, so these are going to get removed. Similarly, we'll just stick them near these. Okay, we don't need to declare the struct, I guess. It's not static anymore. Build name placement, did I not rename it? Did not. Okay, and then placement noise. Form noise. Ah, this line is way too long. Let's chop this up. Okay, so this is the that's the offset. Don't need to make it complicated. Placement offset? Let's call it placement offset. Okay, similarly, we just need to fix up some variable references. Placement noise. Loading doesn't happen here. Let's grab both of these and stick them into terrain new, where the other one went. So that's right here. Okay, so we're just using a seeded number generator. Got whisked away from work. And uniform noise. Okay, so now we're initializing them. The terrain gets initialized. Pass the terrain to that function. Oops. Moving terrain problem going. Pretty good. At this point, I'm just kind of cleaning up the implementation. Otherwise, let's. Oh, well. Cleaning up so I'm not using like temporary global variables that I was using while hot loading stuff. As soon as I finish fixing this, I could show you. So this is that. And we can just make this, pull that out. Placement noise. And uniform noise. Oh, missed something up here. Oh, gotta pass new parameter to that. And then down here, the same. Ooh, I still need to fix that one bug. Okay, so that should work. Now I can run the game and make sure I didn't destroy everything. So let's load up autosave again. Okay, yeah, so now when I dig into the terrain, you can see no decals. And I'm relatively happy keeping this as like my final code, so. I just need to figure out the issue with negative values when I'm decoding the key back into the index used into that grid. So for instance, once we get over here, I turned off all the debug drawing, but let's put those back in easily enough. Edit these debug drawing commands back in. You can see the green is the points, and they should be lining up with those red circles, existing red circles, which they do until you get into negative values, which are over here, and now suddenly they don't line up at all. So I have to figure out what's going on with that. It makes no sense. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this. So when I dug there, you can see that there's no... The green dots are the deleted decals. So let's go and turn those back off. That's very distracting. Okay, so there's those decals there, and if I move somewhere else on the map that's, you know, sort of far away, like if I go up here, and then I come back, they should still be barren of life because I didn't go far enough away. Tiny little smidgen of rock there. But if I go farther away, like up here, and then come back, then you will see that the plants will have regrown around it. So now if we go back, And ta-da! It has plants growing around it again. So that's more or less the effect I wanted. Just as long as right at the time that they're digging, it shouldn't be, you know, the plants shouldn't be morphing and whatnot. And then I'll probably have different types of decals that ignore that. Like it's fine if like rocks and stuff don't get destroyed, but things like the plants definitely should be. So I can just kind of decide that on per decal type, I guess. Let's see. I think that's everything I needed to do for that. Pop back on the code screen. Yeah, and I'm relatively happy. It just was all I needed to do was store a hash map of the places where those decals could show up. Because again, I didn't really want to like re-engineer everything to actually like store like generate tiles of these like placed decals or decorations or whatever you want to call them, and then like manage those and decide when. Yeah, it's really nice that all I have to do is just visit a place and I can use some like random number fields that have been pre-calculated to just draw them, and I didn't have to like do the work of like pre-calculating anything, so it works out pretty good. Okay, so this is the rest of the cleanup. I think I'm gonna commit this. It's cleaner than it was before and does new things. Okay, so what did we do? We deleted track decals that have been destroyed by the laser. And I suppose I could easily enough change this so that like in the weapons code. Bullet, projectile. Draw projectiles. It's gonna be in here somewhere. Update gun. It's the code that actually updates the... Oh, tick. Tick bullets. There we go. I could change this so that when I draw like the spalling bits for like a weapon hit, I could also terrain. Destroy decals near. Decals near, and the position is it's I dot point. Oops, that's shoot. Nope, didn't cache that. Okay, so that's the point. The radius is going to be, I don't know, let's just say like 16, and the tick is going to be tick. Okay, so now I can put that in. As I shoot, I can like shoot the plants off as well, which is kind of fun, maybe. Especially if I can add some animations and stuff to it. Which, I guess maybe that's the next thing to work on, like animate them in the little like poofs being destroyed. I'll have to check if I have any leftover animations I can just steal for that for the meantime. Must be near that other biome. Okay, so let's do that then. Terrain. So when we're drawing the decals, we can get this value and check. Okay, so instead of oh, this is the wrong function. This one. So instead of entirely skipping decals, if we move this call deeper, draw foreground detail and background decal. So let's just do the foreground decals. Foreground decals are the stuff that are like the plants that go around the edge of the terrain, versus the background details are the ones that are behind me in the background. So I can, when drawing that, so this draws an individual so this function draws an individual item based on what type it is, and at the moment it's kind of very temp code with a bunch of like hard-coded arrays of types and stuff in it. Ideally, what I want to be able to do is have like an editor where I can say there's certain areas of the map that have extra concentrations of certain types of decals. Like this will be the really mossy area, the one with the really big rocks all over the place. So that's kind of what I've started building. I can kind of just show you in the game the little editor for it. It doesn't have any locality, but I can pull up the map controls here. So like I'm in the light biome right now, somewhere kind of more in the middle. And so the moss, if I turn this value way up, you can see like the number of moss that it adds just outweighs everything else. So kind of what I would like to do is have like areas I can define in the map editor. So if I zoom out, I can like select this area here and then place a little radius around it where more moss will grow, or suppress rocks from showing up, and I can just do that by fiddling with the probabilities of spawning things in certain places. And that should be relatively straightforward to do with how I actually pick which decal to draw, because I sort of just check all of them, and and then use reservoir sampling to decide which actually gets placed. So that's relatively easy to do. If I hot load this, does it? Yeah, fixes my decal values back to default. But yeah, so back to these bushy plants. That's what they're called in the code. They're drawn around the edge. Let's check the terrain values in here to decide whether or not to draw them. So gosh, yeah, this really needs to get cleaned up at some point, but okay, yeah, so I can just do d map find Terra decals, destroy decal. That's the one. That. Oh, but I need the key for it. I can just pass that into this function too. Yeah, we'll just pass the cell index in as well. Okay, so if it is in the destroy decals, just do an early return. That'll work for now. Oh, I forgot to change scenes again. There we go. Keep forgetting to do that. Adjustable RNG table. Yeah, it's quite nice. Because again, like all I need to do is just check the positions on screen, and I have like a lookup table ahead of time with the random numbers baked into it. So things aren't like flickering and flashing on screen because the random number always comes up the same. Okay, so here I need to do cell index, pass that along as well. Did I do them in the other order? Whoops. Position index. There we go. Okay, this is kind of what I wanted. So I can shoot and the plants get destroyed. Then I go back up to this function. Let's actually use the value that gets returned. So this will be destroyed ticks. So if that value exists, we need to do something with the alpha of the sprite. Okay, so below it's just adding the lights. Anyway, so the sprite, the color, if destroyed ticks sprite color equals RGBA clear. So it's gonna draw them, but draw them as clear. If I could switch this out for like red or something, and you can see the destroyed ones are there, they're just drawn in red now. That's kind of what we want, and then we can use the tick value to calculate like an alpha, to change the alpha of it. So dot color equals RGB fade. Sprite dot color, and then the alpha is going to be something. Okay, so we know destroyed ticks is a value, and it's going to be smaller than the current number of ticks. So something like let's do this as pass in. Oh, I do pass in the draw value. Draw ticks minus destroyed tick ticks. Divide that by tick hertz. Will get us seconds. Then we can just do clamp, I guess. Or smooth step? Well, let's do clamp now. Or saturate, I guess. Need another comma or parenthesis. Have to head out again. Well, see you later, Charles. Okay, so this will start at 0 and go up. Yeah, this is gonna be backwards, but as I shoot them, they'll fade back in. Not exactly what I wanted. So we need to do 1 minus that. Like that. That is an interesting thing. Since I'm inserting them again, guess I should check if it already exists before inserting it then. Nope, no, the destroy decals near, that's this function. Okay, so if dmap, there's a fancy way to do this, I thought. Well, insert will return the previous value of, whatever. Is that helpful to us? Turns the old index value. Yeah, it kind of isn't. Just check if it exists already. Ooh. I have a coding assistant. Ugh. Probably shown Tigger before. Tigger, my cat. He's about 4 months away from being 21 years old, so he's a good kitty though. Got a little heated bed behind me, so he sneaks in and sleeps in that all day. Okay, so if it already, you know, I just want to get the old value and do a minimum. So let's do old ticks, or old tick equals cell index. And I want to keep whichever is older as long as it's not 0. So old tick and old. Don't want to overwrite that value. Alright, I'm just gonna have to rename this thing in a second. If old tick and old tick is less than tick. Old tick equals tick. No, actually, I don't even care about comparing them. I just, if it already exists, use that one. Otherwise, the new one. I can just do this. That's even easier. Okay, so now when I shoot these, nothing happens. If I go and shoot these, they disappear once. Okay, well, reasonably happy with that. Yeah, then I just gotta figure out what I want to do for like an animation up here, I guess. I mean, I suppose I could just spawn a little explosion or something. But I should be doing that when the decal gets destroyed, maybe? I don't know. Well, maybe figure this out later. This is kind of good enough for now. So if I just turn on God mode so we don't run out of power. I feel pretty okay with that, even fading out a little bit. I think that's a good start. We'll just leave that in for now. Just make it the duration a little bit faster, or shorter, I guess. Shoot these. Let's make the weapon radius a little bit bigger, like 32 or something. Easier to actually hit things. Okay, so that is good. Shorten the duration. I should pull up the game screen. Yeah. Nice little, like, short fade out of them. Yeah, it's a little bit better than just quickly disappearing. add something else better later. Or like a explosion animation on top of it. Terrain. Let's... Not old tick, so it wasn't in there before. We can do... Blast. Make blast? Make blast. There we go. Whatever, I don't have the information in this function to actually do it. Well, that's good enough for now. Ah, you like my iteration time there, Scott? This is why I like working not... or like working in my own tools. Well, this was some nonsense, but I'll commit it. So it only works on foreground ticks at the moment, which I think makes sense. The stuff in the background should be like dug out of the terrain, and you're not going to notice it underneath the player anyway, so that's fine. So maybe just the foreground details are the only thing that I would really want to. Well, okay, no, it spawned like the moss in there. That seems kind of silly, but I'll come back to that later. I can figure out how I actually want to work with like editing decals as like a map entity. Yeah, so we'll keep this. Silly change to let you like shoot the decals, but it works. It's kind of fun. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Let's players shoot decals to destroy them. Okay, well, kind of mostly finishes that task. Boy, I've been avoiding that for like a good year and a half, 2 years probably. Like all the code for drawing these decals is sort of just like minimum viable prototype state, where it's just like this big mess of, you know, like hard-coded like tables and stuff that I've been ignoring. Like, yeah, so like these tables here of like the different... Why is it not hiding the terminal? There we go. Like these tables of like the different fossils that you can see that'll show up in different places. Kind of weird to just have them hard-coded in here. I did at least clean up so they're like data tables and not just hard-coded into the various functions, but like you can see on the foreground decals, like those are all just, you know, I just dumped these these arrays like directly into here. So every time I call, oh my gosh, actually these should be static const arrays. It's rebuilding these every frame. Oh, the performance, whatever, they'll get removed anyway. But yeah, so or just like that I'm like hard coding which things, you know, which types of plants and stuff have lights on them. So like you can kind of see these plants here have yellow lights on them, and these ones have some blue lights. If I go next to them, you can see, hey, it lights me up as blue. And that's because I, you know, hard coded it right into this this function that they have lights that are associated with them. So I gotta like turn this all into data and tables that I can edit from the map editor, but that's for a different day maybe. I decide what I actually want to do with it first. I don't know. Let's look at the to-do list, see if I can come up with something to do. Otherwise, maybe I'll just be done with this stream. That was relatively productive, so. So I can work on teleporters a bit. Placing the thing, prompt player. Need some placeholder graphics. So I probably would skip the placeholder graphics, but I can at least like implement the rest of this on the stream. Otherwise, man, I don't really want to fix that boss right now. Again, got to figure out what it is that I want it to do first. So yeah, let's work on the teleporters. So let's back out of this. Save. Oops. There we go. Let's not save. Let's load up save 22. Whoops. This one's far enough along to make sense to do it. Okay, so let's go back to the fabricator so we can build a teleporter. So, one thing that happens in the game currently that, okay, so let's add some things to pick up to demonstrate. So, if I add some items, whatever, boronite, that's fine. So I can just add some items. And as I go and pick these up, I already have built drones. So as I go and pick these up, it'll dispatch drones to come and pull it out of my inventory and take it back home for me. So that's, you can see that they picked it up, and now my inventory up on the upper right corner is, or the cargo is empty. So that's all good and nice, except for when you get, over here, the drones start taking longer to get to you because they run in real time like everything else. If I pick a couple of these up, where are the drones? Are they coming? Maybe. You can peek on the map and see, you're not going to be able to see that in the small view. Like, you can see these blue dots that are coming. They got about halfway there already, but the farther away you are, the longer it takes the drones to go back and forth and back and forth. So as you explore further away, like, way out over here on the map or way down over here or something, the time for them to go back and forth gets really long. And even if you have like tens of drones, like 30 drones or something, the latency from them picking something up to bringing it home so that you can actually craft with it just kind of takes a while. And also, your ability to craft stuff remotely is limited. So at the moment I have like a fab radio upgrade that you can buy, but I think I'm actually going to replace it with a teleporter. So I'll just go and build a teleporter to demonstrate. Oops, went the wrong way. Whatever. Autopilot knows where to go. Oh, currently researching how to rewrite Udon assembly. Here, chat. The assembly that gets generated from C# has a lot of suboptimal stuff. That sounds like a interesting challenge to work with. Okay, so now that back here, let's build a cargo teleporter. So when I craft it, it doesn't show anything on the screen right now, which is one problem. Instead, it puts it near where you were connected. So it dumps it next to the fabricator. So I need to tell the player that somehow. So that's one thing that I need to fix. So if I pick up this teleporter, it's basically like a power node. I can move it around, and I'm just drawing it like a power node but bigger. But if I put it over, let's say, I mean, you can kind of put it anywhere you want. So let's just put it like right there. So now if I drop in some ores, let's drop in some ores, and I pick these up, the drones come out of the teleporter. So now as I'm exploring, it's fast to be collecting resources, and or for them to deliver nodes to me. And also, you can pull them up and use them like the fabricator. So if I need to order more power nodes, I can do that and have them. If I want to make another one of these cargo teleporters, I can build it, and it will show up next to this cargo teleporter. So then I can, move this one a bit further down, and, so now I've also need to draw them uniquely on the map. Let's add that to the to-do list. Okay, let's draw them uniquely on the map. So now, if I'm, let's add some more items to pick up. So they'll come from here, and if I go somewhere in the middle of these two, where'd the other one go? Right there. Okay. So I can put some stuff here and put some stuff here. If I pick these up, they come from that teleporter. And if I come over here, see, now they went to that teleporter. So they can kind of come and go from the teleporters as they please, which I think kind of lends to the ability to explore further into the game. Because you don't have to go back and forth all the time. You don't have to wait for your drones to be delivering stuff back and forth, which is kind of a huge pain, honestly. So that is what I'm that is the next thing on the to-do list here. Set recipe. Let's do that last. Think about that one. Should inform you that they are placed near the fab or teleporter. Okay, so let's close some of these windows. Okay, so the items, I know I've had some pop-ups before. I could just kind of do similar to that. So I guess we're going to do a pop-up. Can I put a pop-up just embedded into the crafting pane? I think I can. Just need to save the state for it somewhere. Well, let's just start by doing it poorly. Craft pane. So when we build things, recover data. Where's the actual build? Craft. There we go. Okay, so delete the ingredients, set expo ready. Let's just do show pop-up. False. Whatever. Show pop. Whatever. This is gonna need to be renamed anyway. That's true. So then let's do if show pop up. Okay. We would need to do. Pop-up. Open pop-up. Add. Okay, so we're going to call it notify, because gotta think about one thing at a time. Rect. We'll make it, gosh, I don't know. 100 by 100 and 200 by 200. Cool. Let's run this. Oh, right. The pop-up isn't like a big, that's begin pop-up is the thing that I need to do. Oops. Okay. So, oh, maybe I can just do this. Let's hold on to that for a second. Okay, so it's a pop-up, and the name of it is going to be notify, for lack of a better placeholder name. Boop boop. Talking in the local Discord. Okay, so begin the pop-up, and we'll just put a label, I guess. See if I remember how pop-ups actually work. Okay, so supposing I just connect to this, because that works as a fabricator. Okay, so I didn't actually. Do have to run this thing that tells it to open the pop-up. Where to open it? Nope. Close and couldn't see. Okay, so when I build one of these, nope, I don't remember how to use pop-ups apparently. Oh, I didn't close it. That's why. Yes. Unbalanced stack. Moo. And what? Debugger's getting angry at me or something. Oh, VS Code. I don't know why you do this. I can type, but I can't delete. Ugh. I have no idea why it gets itself into this weird state. All right, I just gotta restart VS Code. Okay, yeah, I gotta reconnect. The stream to my window. When you close the window, it just freezes it. So it's properties, open selector, window, VS Code. Sure. Sure. Okay, there we go. Now it's reconnected. Moo. Not just that. Okay, so now do the thing. On the game. Just load it up from the autosave. Okay, so now we can open up the... I run this. Hey, the pop-up was there for a nice flash. Oh, it's there. It's just behind it. Ah, how do I bring it to the front? Moo, bring to front? Ooh. Get container. Ooh, notify. Why is that not bring to front automatically? Oh, I bet I'm forcing this crafting window to the front every frame or something. Ugh, that sounds like something I would do. That's the pain for it. A good idea. Well, that's worse. So I'm forcing that one to the front every frame? I'm not. Huh, this might not be visible on stream, but it's doing like an every other frame thing where... Alright, I don't really feel like fixing whatever that is going on at the moment, so we're just gonna move this off to the side and we're gonna call it good enough. I can fix that bug later. Okay, begin pop-up. We should have like a title bar. I suppose that one doesn't either. Whatever. Okay, well, let's just put a button in it and call it good. Button. The item you ordered is near the fab, whatever. So that's, mark that as a progress. So this should only happen. Oh, I don't need this show pop-up variable at all. That's UI library does that for me if I open up the pop-up or not. Okay, so if item is machine. Oh, actually, let's just do this up here where I'm already checking that exact same thing. Okay, so I'm checking if it's a machine, and then I show that info. Boy, I need to make it so it closes at some point. Alright, now that I built like 20 of them. Let's start over on this one. Whatever. Let's just do moo. Get current container. Get window. Current container. It's false. Okay, something like that. So let's build a teleporter. It gives us this little pop-up, and we close it. It makes us a new one. That's fine. Obviously, I have to remember how making UIs work. Quintessential problem of any game dev project where I don't like working with UIs. Yeah. If only I was making a game that didn't have a lot of UI in it. Okay, so it's at least sort of kind of there. Fix the focus on this window, this pop-up. So I can fix the focus and need final text. Should prompt the player with grab when unconnected. Okay, yeah, that's something I can do. So the idea is that all these disconnected ones should have to make it obvious to the player what they just built when they make them. It should have a little prompt over it telling them to pick it up, basically. So whenever they're disconnected, I think I'm going to do, well, that. So I kind of have code to do this in the tutorial already. I might just move this into the HUD. Indicator, label, and location. Let's see, where do I use these from? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's the rendering for it. I could pull out this rendering code, move it into the HUD, where the HUD code where it's a little more accessible. Strange. Scale is always 1. I intended that to be adjusting. Okay, so there's an adjustment, there's the overlay primitive for it, which there's a chevron to point towards it. Probably don't need the chevron. Let's just copy some of this and work from there. See how much of it we actually need. Draw function for this. Draw. Interesting. That's curious. Oh, wait, no, that's when they're picked up. So this is just the regular item drawing code. Draw items. That's where this is happening in. So if I remove the foreground sprite for it, not drawn. Interesting. Okay. Let's add some things so we can do the type. So yeah, item type D, item type. Teleporter node. Let's just draw something over the top of it. Make sure it's happening as I think when it's happening. 2019 and DRGBA red. Just debug draw stuff in red for some reason. Okay, perfect. So let's just dump this code in here for the moment. This is super uncouth, but that's what hot loading's for. Okay, so I already have the position. Screen pos. Player pos. Draw state. Drift. Get player. Get it. Ugh, that's the one I'm looking for. Okay, state. Not position. And the text for it, we'll just hard code that for a second because I don't know if we actually want it. Hi. Okay, so now they all have these goofy whatevers on them that point at them and tell you to do stuff with them. How much of this do we want to keep? Like, we don't want those arrows that are telling you when they're far away, obviously. We only want it when they're active as well. Well, the active part's kind of annoying to fix at the moment. Okay, so definitely don't want to do the on-screen position or the off-screen positioning for them. Let's think this through again. The circle to highlight it makes sense. So as soon as we connect it, it would go away. Let's just pull this out to a function so we can start really cleaning it up a bit better. Do it. Terrible placeholder function names. So we need to pass in draw context, the position, whatever, draw state. Need to pass the state in. Okay. Oh, and it does need the entity for it, I guess. Yeah, whatever. Let's fix this down here first. Okay, so this needs the draw, the entity, and the position. Get passed through. Still works. Oh, shoot, I've been editing this on the wrong screen. Oops. Okay, so let's check if the power node associated with this is active or not. So, changed my mind. I do want it because I'm gonna use it a bunch here. Pull state out into its own variable. Okay, so thing we're looking for is power nodes dot active. And then we need the index of the power node. That. So if it's active, not active, return. Doing this stuff outside of the joins is always tedious, working with the ECS stuff, but whatever. I'm gonna do it anyway. D component, find state, power nodes, nodes, and the entity is E. There we go. So, oh, I did that backwards. If they're active, I draw them. Whoops, yeah, if they're active, skip out of drawing this function. Okay, so that's kind of where I wanted. There we go. So as I put these various teleporters around, they stop being so attention hogging. Versus, let's say we just built this one and we put it down right there. It shouldn't point when it's off screen. It should just have the label next to it. Alright, and then the label should be, I guess, just the grab context. So we're going to do something like grab. And there we go. So now it tells us to grab it. So that's a good step. I do like the chevron. I do like the bouncy circle. We just don't need the logic that flips it around when you get too far away, turn it into a distant arrow. Which is here, this code. So if we just do this part. There we go. That's not so bad. Yeah, okay, I think that's more or less what I want. Question is, do I want to reuse this code from the tutorial at all? It's kind of enough code that I don't want to copy paste when I only edited out the one part. I could instead pass this minimum distance in as a parameter. Or just pass in a flag lets you do this. That probably makes more sense. Okay, yeah, let's just strip this out, move it into drift HUD. What to call it? Indicator. We'll call it an indicator. Excuse me. Alright, so normal refactoring, moving some things around. Position. Get info dot position. Position, and then the string message. Or just text. We'll just call it text. Done. Okay, so that'll work. I just need to declare it. That over here. Somebody call it indicator. Oh my gosh, that's what these little green swirly things are. I bet. Yep. Thought those were like reticles or something. Yeah. So where's my mouse? Ah, there we go. So the little like swirly things inside here. Gosh, just find something else to pick up. All right, blow up that guy. So you've got those swirly rings around it. That's what the indicator is. So I should just call this OSD prompt or something. Let's go with that. Or just a prompt. Let's just call it prompt. Okay, HUD prompt. Let's move just next to the other function as well, wherever that is. Indicator, that one. Okay, so we have this thing called the prompt. Fix this here. Prompt. Oh, I forgot to change the scene again, didn't I? Sorry. Oh, Martin said that. I thought that was Scott Steffi's. Yeah. Hi, Martin. Writing terrible code. I'm trying to clean things up at the moment. Maybe you've been here lurking for longer than I think. Oh yeah, naming things. Yeah, so you've probably been watching me decide to call it an indicator or a prompt or a whatever. Okay. Okay, so I fixed that one. Why is it showing me more? Holy cow. Uh-oh. Unique C problems. Headers. Gotta hate him. Okay, there we go. That's fixed. Okay, so that works in the game. I got a new function I can share, and if I go back to items, this do it function I can replace down here. Oh wait, no, not quite. I can mostly replace it, but I still need this. Okay, so from here on, this will be replaced with drift HUD prompt. So we're gonna draw it at the position, and the text is going to be that thing it was before. Grab. Okay, so that still works. Now I just need to put the code back in that disables that. So let's add VETV. Or is it just Televiridian Expanse, perhaps? Okay, so the prompts, let's just add a boolean for, oh, what do you call this when it flips like that? That'd be off screen, I guess, off screen indicator. Use off screen, support off screen. Allow off screen. Okay, so then I think I've infected you with my mind virus for mushing words together. Great. Okay, so then if it's greater than that hard-coded distance, and allow off screen. Okay, so now I just got to add that to the declaration because C problems. And then in the tutorial, we want to allow them to be off screen. That's the whole point in the tutorial. And I still have missing arguments. Oh, here. This case, I want them to not be allowed off screen. So, ta-da! There we go. We reuse that giant chunk of code. Include a whole TV channel in your game. It's all the rage now. I will say, as like a really weird Easter egg in the game, I kind of want there to be like an object that you can interact with that pulls up a UI like that, that has Slorth in it, the terrible programming language that I started working on. Why? I don't know. It just feels like it'd be a really silly, fun gimmick. And it'd be relatively easy to do. All I would have to do is like embed the C65 sim. I'll have to put it on the list of stretch goals for once the game's already done. Okay, so this is a little gross that I'm checking the specific item type when drawing the items to see if I want to add the bounce on it. I guess actually what I want to do, any machine should do this. I think all the machines are going to be connected to the power network as well. Ooh, my to-do list. It's hiding just off screen right here. Has lots of stuff on it. There. Now you can go back and look at that frame by frame and be like, why isn't the feature that I want on there? Text-based one year. Oh, well, yeah, that one. I assume you just sent that before it streamed. Okay, so I think instead of this silly function, let's go back down here. Okay, so let's check item data table for the type, and it is a machine. This makes way more sense, because all the grabbable items that you can tow around the world with you, like the teleporters, or the grinder, or the power transmitter, stuff like that, those are all machines that they're marked as. So this kind of makes way more sense. And then I can get rid of this goofy nonsense in here. Because dealing with the ECS stuff is kind of annoying. We'll just add an extra join for the power node index. So P node index, state P node P power nodes.c, and we'll make this join optional. So that should work, and then we don't have to do any of this nonsense. Oh gosh, I don't want to return here though. So let's do this. If it's a machine and it's not powered, then prompt them to grab it in the HUD. Put this, yeah, just do too close. Hey, look at that. Okay, that kind of works. That's reasonably clean. Yeah, I think I like this. Yeah, I knew it would be. Is that referring to my text-based to-do? I kind of like just making it text-based and throwing it in the project, because I can just keep it in version control, synchronize it between machines. If I jump between them, it syncs with them. I don't have to have like a separate like Google Doc or something. I don't know. It all works, but I just prefer like the text file. It's just easy to edit. I have history of it. Yeah, works completely fine. Okay, yeah, I think I like this. So now if I go here, I can build another. I ran myself out of iridium. So, all right, built this screen anyway. Okay, so inventory. Gotta get myself some more iridium. I'll just give myself 30, whatever. Okay, so now when I connect to the fabricator through this teleporter, I can make another one because they only cost 1 viridium, and it gives me this weird pop-up to the side that, gosh, yep. So it tells me that it's there. I just got to clean up the UI bits for it. So then hopefully they'll be like, I should check, and there it is. It's place it in the world right next to the fabricator that you connected to, and it tells you to pick it up. And when you pick it up and you place it somewhere, and now it functions. I think that kind of hits most of the to-do list items. Yeah, so definitely did the grab part. Oops. Put the item back in my to-do list so I can check it off. So I did the grab part. God, look at everything else to do. Okay, recipe for them. I think I want them to have explored. Let's just reset my save here. Kind of made a mess of this one. There. So I think in order for them to build the teleporters, I want them to have visited the ice biome. And at this point, an hour into the game, it gives them a prompt that basically tells them to go there if they haven't realized that it's, like literally one screen away from where they started. Like there's another biome. So within an hour, they should at least have a prompt that tells them to go here and, check it out. And then they'll have the resources they need to build the teleporters, I think is how I want it to work. And I think I don't actually have anything that is crafted using the Floron yet. So this is maybe... Yep, nothing uses it. There's an item for it, but there's nothing to craft. Yeah, so I think I'll make the teleporters use a bunch of this. Maybe kind of a lot of it too. Teleporter node. here we go. Okay, so maybe it doesn't need a lot of iridium. Let's, gosh, we'll have to play test this, but let's make it take a bunch of boronite and a bunch of fluoron. Maybe a lot of fluoron. So I want them to play somewhat sparingly, and then just scrap. 5 should be plenty. Alright, load that back into the game. Should be able to see cargo teleporter needs that stuff. So I can create one. Got that goofy little pop-up. And there it is. Ah. Fix the knockback on the cannon. For those bigger enemies, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It just sort of like pins them in place. A little too easy. Okay, so we'll go with that as being the recipe for now. So let's mark that off. Placeholder graphics. Boy, I have to think about that. At least I should be drawing like a flash when something teleports through them and pulsating ring or something for now to differentiate them so they don't just look like big power nodes. Item, yeah, here. Yeah, so we're gonna just do the thing we just got rid of. If type equals D item teleporter, D item teleporter. Just add a background primitive for it. Call it good enough for now. Don't commit after every one of these to-do items? I'm really inconsistent about it. Sometimes I do when I change like 5 lines, and sometimes I don't. And this is a good point. I should be committing. So that was done. Happy with that. The tutorial. Just move that. Change it into a follow the prompt. Items. Stage this. And that. Okay, well, whatever. It was everything with this 3 lines I just added. Okay. What was that code? Draw indicators for draw prompts for machines, powered machines. What's that teleport recipe? Recipe. Seriously? Okay. Okay, it's just a to-do list. That's fine. Okay, there we go. Committed. Are you happy now, Martin? I'm not making a giant mess of my repository before committing. Oh, man. E-item teleporter. This shouldn't be here. Okay, so push a primitive. It's just like a wobbling ring around it, I guess, to make it look like it has a radius. This fly buzzing around here. Okay, deprimitive. P1 equals pos. Okay, so primitives are kind of a goofy thing in the game. Basically, I have circles and like, you know, pill-shaped line segments I can draw. It's kind of the only thing I've ever really needed. And I draw them in the same way. So everything, whether you want to draw a circle or not, takes 2 points. So if you want to draw a circle, you make the points coincident, and then they take like a pair of radii as well. So you can. So if I do like 30 and 29, you'll see. Oh wait, now you need to make it an actual color, and a color. Color is important. Cyan, good enough for now. It's going to be a really long line. Okay, so that draws this circle around here. Yeah, so if I go back to the code and I say, for instance, P1, I do pos.x plus 100 and then pos.y. I reload that. You can tell now it's a extruded line segment with an inner and an outer radius. So that's like all the primitives I draw in the entire game. They're those, which has been good enough, and it was a nice simplification to not implement like a whole bunch of rendering for a whole bunch of stuff, because it's a really simple shader to draw that, and then I just deal with the slight extra complexity of the generating the data for them, which is fine. They're not really used all that heavily in the game, honestly. Okay, I do want to make the radius wobble, though. Let's split this up into multiple lines so it's not terrible. Oops. That one. There we go. Okay, so let's make radius equal 30. Radius and radius minus 1. Make it hollow. Like that. I'll say that's too big. 24. Sure, good enough. Okay, plus kind of much wobble randomly. Oh, whatever, let's just do like a really fast sine wave. Let's do a complex valued wave, which is just a sine and cosine, because I end up using those a lot, and if you don't need both the sine and the cosine, you just take the x or the y. So draw current nanos, and then we'll just make it wobble at like 300 hertz, which let's make it like a something that shouldn't be divisible into 60 easily. 357. Gosh, that's practically divisible into 23. Whatever, doesn't really matter. Just needs to be some random phase dot x. Okay, so this will be like a tiny little wobble to it. Kind of see sort of like a random energetic wobbling happening there. Kind of more or less what I was thinking. It's just like a radius of teleportation around it. Wish I had a different sprite that I could substitute in here, but without making something bespoke, which I don't really care to do. It's gonna look like that for now. Okay, so let's. Do I want it to do anything else? So if I wanted it to like flash or something when stuff teleported through it, because kind of would be interesting. Spawn some items. Boronite is fine. As I pick these up, and the drones come out, they just sort of like magically appear there. There should be like a flash that happens when they come out. Does it actually even happen? So then the drones, tick drones. Let's see. Where do they get spawned? Spawn? No. Well, that would spawn. This is where they get spawned from. On point drone make. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Let's also just do drift blast. Oops. Make blast. Blasts are like explosions and stuff. I think this will be perfectly satisfactory. Okay, so the game state position is spawn point. That's a normal we don't really care about, so DV2 1. Just do point in a direction, I guess. Whatever, there we go. Points along the X. Parent transform, don't care, so we can do empty entity and the blast type, which explode, green flash, ricochet, violet zap. Not really a lot of choices to go on here. Let's just try that one. Interesting enough. Annoyingly, it shows up underneath the sprite, which is unfortunate. I have to fiddle around with like draw orders to fix that. Green flash. That one's not currently used, at least unique. Ah, can I scale this using the... normalize that. Hey, there we go. Not what I wanted, but close. That'll work for now. That's a good placeholder. Okay, so then when the drones get destroyed, we'll just do the same thing. Temp teleporter flash. Let's call this teleporter flash. We'll have to pass in the state, the spawn point. Come on. The rest do in here. State and the position. Like so. Position. Whatever. There we go. Okay, so then when we destroy them, when they get home, distance, destroy entity, here we go. Temp teleport flash, state, and position of the drone, I guess. Okay, so if we add some more items, switch to the game view so everyone can see. A flash and a flash. Yeah, that's good enough for a placeholder effect, I think. Have some floor on. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. Okay. Need some placeholder graphics. Okay. Teleporter flash. It's not on the list, but I did it anyway. Need to draw them uniquely on the map. I'm just gonna placeholder graphics is good enough at this point. So let's stage that. Okay, so this is gonna be a mess. I'll probably have to figure out how the UI library I'm using works again to make the little pop-up window work the way I want it to. Also, I had a terrible abuse of it already, the UI library already, which I think was causing some of the problems. But uniquely identify them on the map. Okay, yeah. So that is when I draw the map. At the moment, I'm sort of honestly the power nodes are all just like kind of placeholder drawn as well. I'm just drawing primitives for them and connecting them with lines. But this one is a teleporter, and it should tell you that it's special somehow. I guess I could at least draw it in a different color to recognize that it's something interesting. Wonder what the best way to do that is. So switch back to the code. Let's power map, draw power map. There we go. So I just iterate over the power nodes and draw a primitive for each of them. Nothing exciting there. I guess I should just change the color. Ooh, if they're inactive, they're a different color. Oh yeah, who knew? Look at that. Yeah, so let's just lean into that. RGBA. RGB8. That one. Color equals whatever this nonsense is. Color. I mean, eventually what I would want to do is draw icons for them. So there's a couple things. Nothing interesting right now. Technically, this is an icon, and pull this full view. Technically, this orange dot right there is an icon for copper, and not one of these primitive circles. It's basically impossible to tell that. Let's just teleport to a hive so I can show that. Okay, so if I halt the game, I can zoom out, go here. There's a teleport over here, so let's teleport the player up there. Zoom the game. Hey, okay, so yeah, if I look here on the map, that's what an icon looks like. Ideally, I'd like the teleporters to have, you know, actual icons and not just circles, and I think I should probably do it for the power nodes too, although I do, like, you can kind of tell that, like, when I zoom in, the dots for the power nodes are relatively big, right? Like, similar to the size of that icon, but if I zoom way out, the icons stay pixel sized and the dots get smaller, so it's kind of like a power function I apply based on the zoom to try and remove some of the less important details. Oh, actually, you can see what I'm talking about now, that those orange things for the copper are icons because they change size relative to the power node bits. But that's drawn in a completely different part of the code, unfortunately. Like the way I access those icons and stuff. For the moment, I might just That's not hard though. I just okay. Let's do this. So this is where it gets called from. Is it the game map? And there's the draw map. Draw. Does that called from? Color dots to the map key as well. Yeah. It's kind of all in like half finished status, unfortunately. Drift UI, that's where it calls it from, and then drift draw POIs. Okay, so this was the other function. The point of interests are the icons. And there's really nothing special about the way they're drawn, honestly. So this is just do that. Hope the copper icon is a placeholder because it's not very distinguishable from the orange circles. Yeah, that's a placeholder. Also, the orange circles are too, honestly. So I feel like that'll fix that. Oh, yep. I constantly forget to switch. Although the people are like, oh, why don't you just like put them on the same screen? But like my workflow is that like I have the code up on this screen over here, so I can edit it whenever I want, and then the screen that's over here has the game running full screen all the time, and then I can just mash buttons to hot load because it's super fast. So I can kind of just leave both up. And the other thing too is like the gamepad, it's when I push the logo button on the gamepad, that's what triggers the hot reloading, so I can kind of just switch from like I can leave mouse and keyboard focus in the code editor the whole time, and then just pick up the gamepad to like switch to playing in the game and working with the game, which is a workflow that I really like. But yeah, it's not really like a nice automatic way to decide when I want to actually switch to the game. There's potential for like scripting OBS to deal with some of that, but I guess I have to do it wrong for a while to figure out what I actually want. Alright, so let's move the player back over somewhere reasonable. Ah! This is not where I wanted it to be. Get those off. Alright. That's where I wanted to go. Okay, this is back where we were before. Okay. We're gonna have to do some manual ECS fiddling. Yeah, it just got kind of light of when you halt the game. Like I can like tick it forward or like do a individual physics substep, but also just I made it so you could look around the map, edit that, and when you zoom out enough, it like shows you it adds enough light so you can kind of see where you're going. You can kind of see where objects are spawned. So if like I look around near the player, like you can see there's decals and stuff here. But if I go like way over here, like there's no, well, the decals are there because those get drawn in screen space effectively, but there's, until you get close enough to the player, there's no enemies. They only go a certain distance before they all get despawned. So kind of fun to see behind the illusion, the game presenting an entire world that exists all the time. Anyway. Okay, we're just going to do another thing that shall not be done, so... Look up... Oh, no, not the power node. We don't care about the power node. We already have that. We're in the place where it draws power nodes. We want the item index. So, do some manual ECS nonsense. State, items. Alright, well, see you later, Martin. Items.c, and the entity we want is... just pull that out first. D entity equals... power nodes dot entity I. This is why it's tedious to deal with the entity, the ECS stuff, without using the joins, like up here. I kind of just do this like while loop where I declare all the stuff that I want, and it gives me all the things that I want. Anyway, but we have that, and we can do if item. Wait, no. Drift items. Item type. Nope. State items dot type item index dot. Oops. Yep. This is a mess. That's fine. Is machine. Do one thing, otherwise we're going to do the existing thing. This is kind of all still placeholdery. I guess I'm not too worried about making a mess. Okay, so we're gonna push a sprite. Let's just steal this code from the game map for drawing the icons. And we'll steal a frame. We are not currently using gold, whatever. Just steal that. Right, gold icon. I'm temporarily explicitly setting the anchors there. That's weird that it's not set in the sprite sheet. Maybe that's a mistake. Okay, D-sprite, gold, icon. There we go. Oh, and the position is pos. Okay, so now we have that gold icon thing instead. This is dumb. This is a little placeholder. I'm just gonna draw it as a differently colored dot that's bigger. Call it good enough for now. We'll make it 7, sure. And we'll make it blue. There we go. Blue dot. Differentiates it somehow. I'm gonna call that good enough. At some point when I finish up the rest of the icons on the map, it'll all look pretty. But at least I have it differentiated now, and some way to deal with that. Also, I might as well just add a note here. This just be a join. Okay, so draw them uniquely on the map. Yeah, okay, so I'm happy enough with that. So the only thing left for the teleporters really is the way that it informs you, which is enough of a crapshoot that I think I'm gonna do that off stream. So I will probably wrap that up here. I think this went well. I got quite a bit done again. So, let's see, draw orders uniquely on the map. All right. Yeah, well, thanks for watching, everybody, and keeping me on task. All these spores. Okay, well, I'm gonna log off then. Thanks for watching.